Yo, what's up boys, and welcome back to a bit of a different video. As you'll see in the title of this one, this video is going to be talking a bit about the history from start to finish, pretty much, at least from my knowledge, of the Battle Royale genre, which has recently, as I'm sure you guys know, dominated the PC gaming market and the Twitch stream market, I guess if you want to call it that. At the time of recording, there's two Battle Royale themed games, which are H1Z1 King of the Kill, and of course the game you'll see right now on your screen, PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds, are taking up the top 5 slots on Steam stats, which is pretty impressive considering the rest of the games are actually Valve titles, which is of course their platform, Steam. The game PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds also just hit 1 million sales in the 2 weeks which has been out in early access, which is definitely a lot more than the development studio behind it, Bluehole, anticipated. And with that said, that's the reason why I'm dedicating this video to learning a bit more about the history of this genre, because there is a lot behind it, and considering the amount of people that think PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds is literally an H1Z1 copy, and they aren't trolling, they genuinely think this is true, we're going to have a nice educational time today in this video. So let's start at the start, who would have guessed. PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds obviously having 1 million sales now, and H1Z1 King of the Kill having almost 5 million sales at the time of recording this video. I don't even want to think about the percentage of those players who don't know how this game originally came to be what it is today. The heart-pumping game which everyone loves, and really there's no other game which makes people feel like Battle Royale games do feel. But either way, this in the background, in case you guys don't know what it is, I was one of the first, if not the first content creators actually making videos on this. It's the Daisy Battle Royale mod, which is a mod of a mod. Arma 2 had a mod, which I'm sure you guys know, called the Daisy mod, and a bunch of people started making mods for that, such as the Breaking Point mod, the Overwatch mod, Mercenary mod, bunch of things early on, and this was one of the mods which came out just a few months after the Daisy mod blew up. Obviously PlayerUnknown, which his name is in the title of the game, PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds, he was the guy who made this mod. Back then, he was an Irish man who lived in Brazil for some odd reason. I always asked him, why do you live in Brazil? I can't remember the reason why, but either way, why is this important? I don't really know, it's just an interesting tidbit. But he made this mod, and he asked me to bring a bunch of subscribers on and attempt to play a game, which, as you'll see, was a bit different with a circle, just like it was in Survivor games. You can run into the middle, get a weapon if you do so desire, look in the tents if you want to try to find some random weapons, and the plan was to eventually make this system with 32 or so players in it an all-mate system, also middle fingers. And to go back even further, what was the influence with PlayerUnknown making this mod of a mod? It was actually from a Korean movie called Battle Royale, which came out in the year 2000. A good movie, by the way, I'd recommend going back and checking it out. But it's exactly what you see in this video game. Not so much PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds, there's no parachutes, but essentially it's a bunch of school kids, and they go kill each other. It's just what it sounds like. It's interesting. All of those core components from the movie were found in the original Daisy Battle Royale mod, which was released in 2013. They are also found in H1Z1 King of the Kill and PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds. The airdrops, the zones which are dangerous, so in bombing zones in the movie, but they are zones which you want to avoid, they're all found in that movie. I'm sure a bunch of people probably think the game mode was based off of Survivor games, or it was simply based off of just a random idea, but no, I can guarantee you with conversations with PlayerUnknown, it was in fact based off a movie. I know, it's crazy. I am going to miss a few things which are maybe important in the Battle Royale game timeline, but most of these will focus on, I guess, PlayerUnknown's story to obviously make this massively successful game, which has generated, I don't know, $30 million in sales so far, not including the future with microtransactions and crates and all that stuff. But after decent success with Arma 2 Battle Royale and having a few servers up and having games going on all the time, and also keep in mind this original mod actually featured zombies in it, which was a bit weird considering the game we play these days don't feature any AI at all. But he then moved on to Arma 3 a year after that and continued to perfect the formula, making it more automated, adding in new maps, adding in new weapon packs, and as a whole making actually a competitive PvP mod which many people, even to this day, still play in Arma 3 because it makes your heart pump. It's hard to describe it, but the reason I recommend buying PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds or just trying out any of these, Battle Royale games is because when you're the last few alive, it just gets you excited. I don't know why. I can't find any other game which does that. I've played CS for years. Doesn't do that. This game just, it fucking gets adrenaline in you. It's amazing. These two mods for Arma 2 and Arma 3 were undoubtedly purely passion projects from PlayerUnknown. The only revenue source really you could get from this was donation money. Arma, with Bohemia being the developer of a game, were very tight on their monetization rules, so it's not like he was drowning in money from these, but he supported them for years, even to today, obviously keeping the servers up for the Arma 3 servers with leaderboards and all that kind of stuff, and they have continued to exist. People still like them, like I mentioned. But with all good ideas, why not make a standalone game? DayZ Standalone came about. That was obviously standalone for the DayZ mod. It tries to do survival, but in a standalone form instead of worrying about being a mod and having limitations through that. And H1Z1 just so happened to come out at a time in which PlayerUnknown was having a pretty big success with his Arma 2 and Arma 3 Battle Royale mods, mostly focusing on Arma 3. Arma 2 did end up dying, but either way, I'm guessing H1Z1's developers, Sony Online Entertainment, or as they are now known as Daybreak, they came over to PlayerUnknown and said, hey, why don't you implement your idea or allow us to implement your idea into a game, and we will probably give you something in return. I don't know the exact details of what exactly happened there, but I'm sure PlayerUnknown got some kind of monetary compensation. I do know he did spend some time in San Diego actually making sure the game, you know, works the way it should do, since he does know the Battle Royale game mode better than anyone else, or at least a way that makes it slightly fun. That's another thing I think a lot of people kind of forget about when they say, yo, H1Z1 King of the Kill, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds just fucking stole it. No, actually, PlayerUnknown did also work on, at least to a certain extent, although I'm sure there was certain creative limitations, which is why he ended up doing his own standalone thing. He didn't have full control over it. H1Z1's turned into, you know, case unboxing ahoy, so I'm sure PlayerUnknown didn't quite like that too much, and the game hasn't really progressed too much. But this isn't around about H1Z1 and how I don't really like it too much. Point is, he didn't have a full creative control over it, so that's why he ended up kind of moving away from that and moving on to his personal standalone game. As you guys should know already as well, H1Z1 was split into two games, H1Z1 Just Survive and H1Z1 King of the Kill. Previously, it was just known as simply H1Z1 Battle Royale, but that's why the game was called Battle Royale, and that's why the DayZ mod is called Battle Royale, and that's why the Arma 3 mod is called Battle Royale, because PlayerUnknown, he was kind of involved in the development of that one. Like I mentioned previously, throughout all this time, there was still additions happening with Battle Royale, albeit not too many, at least in terms of my knowledge of updates, other than a big update which changed the UIs and all that stuff. There was maps being added with Arma 3 to keep it fresh. There was still an active community playing it, but still, behind the scenes, I remember talking to PlayerUnknown, I think it must have been earlier last year, about this secret project he's got going on, which is a standalone game, which to me sounded like fucking shit. The reason why is simply because, well, PlayerUnknown, yes, he made two mods, which were good and all, but for a guy who's made some mods to just go ahead and team up with a studio and make a game which actually does the Battle Royale thing very, very well, which was some Battle Royale standalone games before this, like the Culling and a few others, which I'll have on the screen right now. That's scary. That's really scary. Luckily, PlayerUnknown ended up teaming up with that development studio I talked about before, Bluehole, which, in case you guys weren't in the past, they made Terra Online, which is a very popular Korean MMO, but making one MMO which really has nothing to do with solid gunplay and all that kind of stuff, I was still a bit worried with Bluehole. How are they going to make a good game? And playing the ND8 Alpha earlier on last year, I kind of thought I was right. This game's terrible. It wasn't really that good. But the progress they've made in the 6, 7, or 8 months that content creators have been able to play alpha and beta builds of the game, I guess now, it's insane. The game has came so far, and I'm so happy with where it is. And like I've said time and time again in our videos, I'm very excited to see what the future of this game ends up being like. With modding and with new maps in store, and with the developers just having a very solid initial release, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but like I said, I'm excited. Literally every game from CSGO to Rust to even Unturned had a Battle Royale game mode in them, but still no game, in my opinion at least, out of the admittedly not many standalone Battle Royale games that came out so far, really hit the spot which I wanted them to be. Obviously these were all good mods, but at the end of the day the core game was not meant for Battle Royale. CSGO is not meant to be a Battle Royale game, Rust is not meant to be a Battle Royale game, and Unturned is, it's just fucking Roblox really, isn't it? And with that we come to the first build which I actually recorded on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. There was no parachuting, the UI was dog shit like I said, and this is the reason why I was worried about the game. Honestly I didn't really know too much about the developers Bluehole at this point, but all I knew was the game game was very clunky. The weapons were just really weird on the ground, as you'll see. The UI, like I said, was terrible, and I wasn't sure about how the progression with the game, the development speed of the game was going to be. After just being solely disappointed with Daisy Standalone, big updates coming out every 6 months, I thought this game would be something along those lines, where you can see the map is just very bland, and it's just going to be really H1Z1, but shit. Not that H1Z1 in my opinion was a good game at that time, but was certainly better than this build I'm playing right now of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Which, keep in mind, I'll have a date on the screen right now, or I would have had it on a few seconds ago, but this video was recorded in September 2016, which really wasn't that long ago, was it? Even looking back at that September video of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds alpha build, and seeing the grass come through the floor, looking at the horrible graphics, which keep in mind, even in this video right here, I'm not playing the game maxed out, I just have like foliage and stuff turned off so I can see people better, but the game was just, it was so much worse. I can recognize that building there, and I can see the current building and see how cool it is. The map has just been improved so much with having swamps around the map, like a hospital, a school. I really can't name everything off the top of my head. The nuclear place. I find new buildings, like, I wouldn't say every day, but every few days I'm like, shit, I've never seen this building in the entire map. And I've played the game for 50 hours. And, you know, with time, we're going to only expect to see big and better things happening with modding and all that kind of stuff. Again, this is not a hate speech on H1Z1, I'm just saying a bit of my opinion, but hopefully from this video you guys should have learned maybe a thing or two about Battle Royale, the history of it, and maybe this history will be important with the game's ever increasing numbers. H1Z1 even isn't dying by any means, in fact it's growing in popularity and is still hitting higher numbers than this game, but maybe over time PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds will end up being on top. I guess only time will tell with that one, depending on how Bluehole play it all out, really. I apologize if there's some small inaccuracies here and there. I didn't personally reach out to PlayerUnknown since he is probably a busy man, and I feel like off the top of my head, with no script, I do know the Battle Royale genre well enough, and I'm sure a bunch of you guys have learned a bunch of things about this genre which you didn't know about before, so apologies if everything's not spot on, but I'm sure I've blown a bunch of minds off the fact that, whoa, it was all based off of a movie. Thank God for inspiration. If you guys have got any friend out there who says, but it's based off of H1Z1, then, I don't know, just link them this video and they will maybe sit through it, or maybe you'll just dislike it and say, I can't understand this Geordie prick. What's a Geordie? I don't know, it's my accent. And also, just so you guys know, I don't know, Bluehole, I don't know how you've done it, but just to confirm, this is not paid promotion. Someone said that about my Last One Standing video where I was like, it's okay for a free-to-play game. I just really like the Battle Royale genre. It's a really solid game. If you haven't tried it out, go play it. Even if you go play Last One Standing, the free-to-play version of Battle Royale, I guess, of the Battle Royale genre, go try it out and you'll make your heart beat like never before in a video game. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and all good stuff. That was a win in squads. That was a pretty okay win. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.